So is your self-talk, or the way you talk to yourself, how you would talk to somebody else? We're going to talk about that today on Coffee with Ken. Welcome. I want to welcome you to Coffee with Ken. We're so glad you're here. And we have some regulars that are always here with us. We're always grateful to see those who join us every week. And I am Dr. April Brown. I am coach trainer here. And we have Ken Brown, named after Coffee with Ken, who is my husband. Ken. And he is the CEO here at Destiny Global. And we have Butch McCracken. He is back in the house, general manager here at Destiny Global. We missed you last week. Glad you're back.
Good to be back.
Anyway, we joke about that because he's like, I've been replaced.
Mm-hmm. We want to start a campaign. Bring Butch back. Anyway, let's stay on task.
Yeah. That's self-talk right there, isn't it?
Gotta stay focused. So yeah, that's what we're talking about just how we talk to ourselves. And it is so often how we would words we would never say to somebody else. Yeah, we talk to ourselves that way. So let's talk about that. What are some things that you have done of that self-talk and realizing that isn't how you would talk to somebody else, and what do you do about it?
Yeah, it's good because you're talking an example, and there's multiple ones as I'm learning to correct my self-talk. In that, when you get frustrated with something, you start to kind of call down names upon yourself. For me, it's acting out of anger and sheer frustration, and maybe what I'm trying to do doesn't make sense in the moment, but I'm still trying to power through it, and then I get it done. Like trying to put up a deer blind in 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the best thing to do, is it, Butch? Go ahead.
No.
What did you say to yourself during when you were doing that?
Every time I'd get it into the ground, stakes in, here comes Father sending a good wind of gust going, I'm going to teach you. And there goes the blind. And I started to see red and started going, oh, I'm just an idiot. I can't believe I'm trying to do this, and going nuts. And then I got it done, and it stayed. But then I realized afterwards that wasn't good for me to do that. Whether I'm doing that to someone else, which I pray I wouldn't, or myself, there's no difference. So, I went and sought Father for forgiveness and kind of made it right with myself, just like I would make it right with someone else. Because words are seed. Whether you speak words for somebody else or you speak words over yourself, you're planting a seed.
Very much so. Very much so.
That's
and
so good.
we are much harder on ourselves than we are on others. That's a known fact, right? It's not even a debatable situation, because when we look at ourselves and we want to accomplish something, we set out to do it, and we do something really stupid. Like, there's been times at home that I love to cook and I use a cast iron skillet, and I'll forget that cast iron skillet is like, 1,000,000 degrees, and I grab it, because you're just not thinking you're going to move it over or whatever. And the first thing that you come to yourself is you just burned yourself and just think, wow, I was such an idiot, and so you have to go back into things and give yourself grace and know that you're working to do something good, but sometimes it doesn't always feel that you're doing good when you injure yourself in the process, or, you break something. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to do something, especially with our dog. We have a wonderful dog named Windsor, and he's considered a giant breed when we take him to the vet, and they say, no, he's not just big, he's giant, right? 150 pounds, just a massive dog. And so I'll go around the house and try to clean and get everything swept up, because he sheds a lot of hair. He's half husky, half lab. And it just, it's just never ending. We have these vacuum cleaners going around the house like you see in the memes. It's cleaning up the house, all the time. So I was sweeping things up, and Butch, no more than I got it done, I had to go back and do it all over again. I was like, it's just so frustrating, because you don't know if it was the dog or me not cleaning well. And obviously, on the night before Shabbat, we clean, because April is our QA person. She does the quality assurance.
We do a dinner on Friday night.
Right, we do our Shabbat dinner on Friday nights. And so we want things to be really nice and clean. And so it gets very frustrating. But self-talk can come in as, am I not going to live up to the standard? Am I not doing good? You just little things like that, because you find yourself getting tired. And typically, the tireder that you are, which is a bad word, right, Coach Carmen? Tired is a bad word, because we shouldn't be tired. We should be looking to, in fact, it's not that I I have to clean. It's that I want to clean, that I get to clean, that I own something that I get to care for. But that self-talk can take you right down a pattern, and with the smallest of things. But it shows you where you're at. It's a thermometer to show you how you're actually perceiving yourself, and really reversing those thought patterns, just as you did. That you actually are smart, and you actually got that deer blind to stay in the ground with 70-mile-an-hour winds, which is an accomplishment. But
Right.
Yeah, and we think that that's so selfish to focus on our self-talk, but how it's not selfish is that it always reflects on how we treat other people.
Right.
How we treat ourselves is how we treat other people. We're talking about the law of honor, because honor is in all of that. How we honor ourselves with the way that we talk to ourselves, it always comes out in how we honor others, if we're
Very
not
true.
honoring ourselves.
Very true.
And it's usually a projection. If we're hard on somebody else, it's usually because we're projecting that we're so hard on ourselves.
Right.
That is true.
When you were thinking about talking about the cast iron, I was thinking about my I have two brothers, and I have a brother who lives in Iowa, and I went to go see for his 60th birthday, and they have the automatic sink.
You can touch
you
touch the faucet and it comes on.
You can wave your hand or whatever, and it just senses. And so I kept touching the handle, and he gets so mad at me, and he was like, "Don't do it again!" And he put a thing over it, a cloth over it, and all kinds of stuff to try to get me to do it. And that's just because he is such a perfectionist. He wants things so perfect, and so he can be hard on other people because he's such a perfectionist. Right. But anyway, it was funny, and we had that in an Airbnb. I'm like, I would never put this in an Airbnb because we're such creatures of nature. We're going to go for the faucet every single time, and you're gonna have it messed up because people
Well, then we couldn't get the water to turn on because it was turned on, but when you touched it, it turned it off. But it was like, what did we just do? Right? Because the thing didn't even work by the time we were done. It's like, oh dear heaven. So,
but how we? Because I kept going, stop! You're so ridiculous. You can't remember this. Those kind of stuff that you start saying to yourself because you're frustrating somebody else too, and that's no fun. And so you start saying those things to yourself too.
Well,
and so I've learned to say I don't, especially if it's something toward you. I mean, if it's feedback that you need to learn from or grow from, that hey, maybe you do it this way, you can do this better. That's good. But if you're
beating yourself up.
If you're beating yourself up, or somebody else is saying something to you that was stupid or that was, then I don't receive that. Because it's not the truth. That's not, I'm not stupid. I may have some moments of brain freeze, but I'm not stupid. I have
that is true. You're very
wonderful
smart.
brain that God has given me that I can learn. So
yeah, and your reactions with, I was working through with another company to get something on a personal level, and back and forth with emails, and I'd get an email that says, "Oh, we need more information." I'd submit it, and then that night, another email, and just the header said, it was a forward, and it said, "We need more information." I went, "Come on." And my wife looked at me and go, "Seriously, you didn't even open it yet? You're reacting that way?" She goes, "You don't know what it's about. And if they need more information, why are you getting frustrated? You just give them more information." I opened up the email. It was just a header to say, "Thank you, we have everything. We're processing your request." So my reaction, there was nothing there to get that moment of frustration, which when you're with people will spill out. And
for sure.
So I'm grateful to have people in my life to call that kind of stuff out, just to make you think about that type of stuff. That will react before we have all the answers.
Well, and if you're not honoring yourself, if you're showing honor to other people, then really you're pretending, right? Because you've got into a habit of pretending that, well, it's true. Because you're not really, if you're not doing it yourself, it's hard to actually project that on somebody with just changing words. Now, it's okay to speak life if you're not to that point yet and say, I am a person, I am smart, I am intelligent, I can do this, right? Self-talk needs to be things that motivate you and believe in yourself that you can do something. And quit focusing on what you can't do and focus on the solutions.
Yes, that's so good.
Mm.
So good. So this is something that probably the deepest that we touch on this is that training that we do called Creating a Dynasty. We have
Yes, we
that
do.
coming up next week.
That's right.
Starting Friday, November 4th, going through November 6th. It is not too late to sign up. And we have a couple of tickets in person, but virtually you're definitely want to attend that. If you've gone through a First Steps to Success already, that is our initial training that helps you to know the basis so that you can go to the next level, which is creating a dynasty. But this is the kind of stuff to go so much deeper.
Yes.
In what kind of words you're saying to yourself, how you're treating other people, conflict resolution. You were talking about words are seed, and that's just like the surface, like to go deeper into the roots of what we have inside and what has been spoken into us is so powerful. It is such a powerful training. So we would love to see you there. Information is below. And we have another creating our First Steps to Success coming up in January.
Absolutely.
So we want, you do. It's so important to kick off the year right with a training that can really take you help you take steps, not just making a New Year's resolution and then that goes out the window.
Yep.
But really how to take steps toward your future. So that all that information is below. Thank you for joining us here at Coffee with Ken, and we hope to see you next time. Like, share, do all the things, punch the button, and we want to see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day. We believe in you. Good positive self-talk.
Bye.